Hello guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back. It's still your boy iNtwana Yase. I hope you guys enjoyed the last class. This is the second class for the learning and earning program. Today or right now we're going to be speaking about the art of lyricism, basically crafting meaningful and impactful songs. Without further ado, let's get straight into what that means and what that entails. So basically for me, the flow that I'm using is also a flow of just really understanding, because once you start getting to making music and people differ again, but this is just a basic element of how people make music in a standard level is you have an idea, right? Or you have a feeling that you want to try and, and showcase and express musically. And usually the first thing I always tell artists is tell me what's the color, what's the mood, what's the theme. So already those ideas already inspire the sonic and the production of that tape. So that's why we started with genre and beat selection, because that's what drives the message, right? We're not singing a cappella, we're singing on top of rhythms and moods. So that drives that. And once we find the theme, we then find the right sound, we are then getting into writing these feelings and writing these songs. So that's why this one is next, and it's also really important. And again, it's standard, it's not how it happens, it's just a way to make you kind of conscientize yourself and think about your creative process. So what is lyricism? Lyricism is the art of crafting compelling, poetic, emotionally engaging lyrics that resonate with the listeners, and that again doesn't have to be only when it's deep. It can be even the most fondest songs that have no meaning, maybe rapping about your phone or rapping about a lunch bar. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because something might not be as deep or make you cry that it doesn't need lyricism. And actually Lil Dicky is a perfect example, where he raps about being on the moon. It's still a form of lyricism, right? So and again, the most important thing again is, the more you are intentional about your lyrics, you connect with the audience a lot more. And again, it doesn't matter if it's a million people or 100 people, as long as people who relate to what you're going through get the message and you deliver it to them in a way that it's so real. That's what it really means, right? And again, iNtwana Yase, we are trying to create generational artists. So again, being good with the lyricism and being good at songwriting results in timeless and impactful music. People like Lauryn Hill, Kendrick Lamar, Adele, Jill Scott, right? So that's what we're trying to push our artists to get to. And any other artist, this would be an inspiration to really focus into what is this thing called lyricism? As you put your pen down, are you intentional, or are you just flowing with a certain word? Are you, really conscious of what are you saying? So why is lyricism important? Enhances emotional connection, strengthens storytelling, increases memorability, elevates artistic identity. So just to begin with the first one, when you speak about enhancing emotional connection, is the word choice that you use, and this is even before you even record and perform the song, is while you're writing it, there's certain words, so for me being a rapper, is I've understood that, obviously simplicity also comes into play, but also sometimes there's expressions that we use to explain something, so I'm trying to think of one on the top of my head and all of them are running away right now, but like someone saying, for example, I'm so hungry, I could eat an elephant. When you say I'm so hungry, that still does the job, right? It still shows the emotion and where you at. But once you add the I could eat an elephant, there's a different level of understanding as to what that means. And again, it's not to say you're going to understand exactly how hungry everyone is. It's that when you express it in that way, you open up the room for everyone, even someone whose hunger is 1% or whose hunger is 100%. It's like that term works for everybody, and that's the beauty of understanding lyrics and how to fully describe what you're going through. And it deals with also authenticity, because sometimes at home we have a different language, But when we write our music, we change our language. And that's what we're trying to break, with iNtwana Yase, and even inspiring other artists is use those terms you use at home. Use how when you're talking to your friend, use that, find a way to make sure that conversation reflects into your music. That's what's real. And not this idea that we all trying to sound like Shakespeare, all trying to sound, philosophical. No, keep it real, And yeah, and again, being aware of, lyricism also strengthens your storytelling, because once you understand, what lyricism does, and the keys to that, and again, this is the basic, lessons that we are giving out to the public. But obviously, when we start working in detail and working with, the artists that we work with, we go deeply into metaphors, verbs, pronouns, adverbs, and all these things tied into you being real and you adding these tools. It makes your music powerful. But again, and also it creates memorability, and it goes back to what I'm saying is that, when you start working deeply into this and you start getting higher up in the knowledge ladder, I'd say, is then you start to understand also certain rhymes, schemes. Now I'm getting a bit too deep and technical, but ultimately you focusing on lyricism and focusing on how you write the music, being intentional of how you want to do it, you will start understanding these other tools that you can utilize to amplify the story that you're trying to tell. And once again, also lyricism elevates artistic identity, because again, it's like I'm saying is sometimes when we make the music, we wanna sound like our favorite artist, or we wanna sound like what's the most populist, message in the industry. I want to be a part of the trap movement, so I'm gonna use the same words as them and use the same cadence as them. So all you're doing is you are identifying as that genre. You are identifying as that prototype artist within that lane that you are operating in. Instead of that, what we are saying is learn what they're doing over there, right? But then your unique and your artistic identity relies mainly on your intentions. When you choose that beat, when you choose the type of words you want to use, when you choose how you want to write that song, that's what stands you apart, because there's so many of us in the world, but we actually all have a unique barcode and DNA within us. And people who are willing to challenge themselves deeply and channel what's inside, they're the ones who get to the level of like, yes, you are a hip-hop artist, yes, you are R&B, but you are Uvezi, you are this person, you are Kendrick, you are J. Cole. Why are these people different? They all rap, but they're all different because they have this artistic identity that they've worked on for years. And starting here on this level, by just being conscious of all these things and how they work together, elevates you into creating a whole new world for your audience to come and live within. And that's kind of why we're saying this. And again, lastly, it expands cultural and linguistic expression. So this is important for us as South Africans, because most of the time the commonly used terms within R&B, rap, anything else, it's usually driven by America, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But what's painful for us in iNtwana Yase, which is what we're trying to pull away from, is that we also have those terms. We are just lazy to incorporate them. We're just lazy to make them cool and make them music worthy. And that's where, again, you understanding lyricism and you understanding how to write impactful music, you will find a way to incorporate these things, because some of us are Xhosa, we are Zulu, we can speak English, we can speak Afrikaans, we can speak multiple languages. You bringing that into your music and your creative process, it again elevates your artistic identity, because again, if you're trying to be an artist that stands out, those little things that you might think maybe they are lesser than, or you think they're less impactful or they've never been done, are what make you the individual that you are. So yeah, so this is basically what lyricism is about. It's about basically zooming into who you are. Can you bring that out in this thing we call music? And to get a little bit into technicalities, so the key techniques in songwriting, you get rhyme schemes, right? Crafting fluid and engaging lyrics. So rhyme schemes are as simple as kind of me going, I saw a man. Those are simple rhyme schemes. They're still powerful, right? But again, as you elevate, you'll start getting more intricate but understanding what a rhyme scheme is and understanding what types of rhyme schemes are. Like we said, this is the basic in hopes that you will go and further your understanding of songwriting and not just stick to the standard way of writing. Because I know for myself, when you come into the industry and start making music, you assimilate or you start to do what other people are doing because it's the norm, right? And then and that's beautiful for me to start, but to solidify yourself, you then have to find out what's my way, what is my way. And again, as we see here, there's internal rhymes, rhymes within a single line. Like I was saying now, I was lost in thought, caught in a plot. So lost, caught, in, plot, thought, those are like single line rhymes, it's kind of the internal thing. And usually what I used to do to mark my rhymes, I'll write one line and another line, and that would just show me where the rhyme scheme is happening and how to also keep maintaining the same rhyme scheme. And again, end rhymes, that's the easiest one. That's what everyone uses, dream, scene, can, man. Those are end rhymes where it's like the ending is all hitting at the same spot. Then you get slant rhymes. Slant rhymes are words don't necessarily rhyme on paper, but you can say them in ways that make them rhyme. Hope stone, hope and stone. It's like hope, stone. Like, it's like sounds, and Eminem is the best at slant rhymes where it's not actually saying the word, it's how you say the word. And then that's when you get into syllabic rhymes. So I don't want to be too deep in this one, but syllabic rhymes is basically not really like looking at the word as a word, but looking at a word as sound. So it's hope, stone, cone, cola, flow. You know what I mean? So it's like how you inflict it, how you say it makes it rhyme. So that's quite advanced. But again, these are things that we're trying to conscientize you guys too, that there is a world of ways to be creative. It's not one way. And sometimes people need to understand these things in order to fully get who they are. Because for me, I only started rapping in Xhosa probably 5 years into rapping or something, because I didn't know how Xhosa works on beats. I didn't really understand that, but like when I started understanding, where I would rhyme a Xhosa word with the English word, because I understand its syllables, not really the end rhyme or the internal. It's how you say it and how you punctuate it within a beat. But those are benefits of being part of iNtwana Yase, and you would get to learn that in deep detail. And next part is melody writing, blending words with catchy tunes. So this is usually powerful for mostly vocalists. So vocalists, like for me as a songwriter myself, what I usually do is when I hear a beat, I'll maybe hear a melody, maybe it goes, and I'll be like, running away. So sometimes like that came from the, I'm running away. Can you hold me now? Stuff like that. So like mostly like you guys as vocalists, the beat and the music can open you up to so many things, and not just limiting yourself to, I want to say this and I'm going to force it in there, but listening to that beat and finding that melody that sticks out, whether it's da da da, maybe the beat goes boom da bam ba da na na boom ba dum ba na na na, it's like, I came and I got you back, stuff like that. So that's kind of like what melody writing entails. And also it's all about experimentation, especially when you're a vocalist. Is it's not like a rapper where you kind of get the words immediately. You guys can experiment with melodies, and even an exercise that I usually do with people is like just make melodies, just hum to the beat and come up with then we see how we can change those into words, and sometimes leave them in there as backups. So this is another way that a lot of artists use to find melodies. And one of the best people who does this and speaks about it is her. I know she's vocal about coming up in melody, and even Alicia Keys. So that's an important thing to also understand as a creative, the other doors to doing that. Number 3 speaks about stretch rhyme, extending rhyme patterns creatively. Stretching rhymes involves taking one rhyme sound and expanding it across multiple words or lines to create a smoother flow. I rise, I shine, realign my mind, redefine the grind. So that's also, what, is quite elaborate, because, it's like, I rise, I shine, realign my mind, redefine the grind. It's like there's a lot happening over there. It's not just rhyming, but it's also going back to the multi-syllables where it's syllabic work where, redefine is like redefine, redefine, out of my mind, and so these are things, again, that there's a lot to work on that, but understanding what that is and what it entails can also, again, amplify the work that you're trying to do and the message and the story that you are trying to tell. So we spoke about that, and quick rhyme, practicing double time and rapid flow. So rapid flow is it's famous now in Amapiano. They do it a lot. And again, even with that, understanding what a quick rhyme is, again, going back to genre, is most of these things also let you know how you can utilize them in these different genres and choosing the right beat to say that message, so that's how it happens, and understanding in what genre, what type of style they use, and also listening to certain artists within these genres and what they do. So the exercise for this section will be you guys going into all these different things we're speaking about and finding a reference. Find your own reference and share it with us in, which song do you know that uses metaphors and similes, and writing that down. That's your exercise for this this section of the work. And multilingual writing, blending Xhosa and English for impact. Same thing, like we said, a lot of my music does a lot of that, and there's other famous artists too who do that, Amifa, Gunati, there's so many other ones. So here again, find those artists that you have heard use this, and write them down. That's the exercise for this one. And so in conclusion, the power of lyricism, it's basically mastering lyricism unlocks an artist's full creative potential, whether through clever rhymes, storytelling, emotional depth. Great lyrics can make a song timeless. By studying different techniques and artists, emerging songwriters can refine their craft and develop a unique voice that resonates across cultures and genres. So that's basically everything. So again, the whole goal here is to teach you a broad idea of what happens. And to the guys within the company, lucky for you guys, we'll be then going in depth into each one to try and make sure that you fully understand it. But just having an idea of, what's being used out there and the tools that you can take to then make your music great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, iNtwana Yase, it's peace and love. Thank you.